Good morning, everyone. Ace of Trades here. Looking for maybe get a short on a lower high back into this range here. Got our overnight high set up here where the gap formed. You can see right there the gap between where prices closed on Friday and then where they opened Sunday at 6 p.m. So we had this overnight high here. I put the low is down here, and now we've got two big legs up, and let's see if we get some sort of decent lower high here to fade the range. That's not printing very nice right now up at this area. But while we're waiting, I can tell you that the Bible says in Galatians chapter 2 and verse 20 and 21, I am crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. In the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by the faith of the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. I do not frustrate the grace of God, for if righteousness come by the law, then Christ is dead in vain. So what that's telling us is if we're trying to merit God's favor by some sort of good works, it's not going to work. Else Christ died in vain. If we could merit God's righteousness through some form of good works, but rather we need his righteousness instead. All right, let's see what we're doing here on the chart. You'll just pause it and come back later. Something shows up. I just want to point out here, you know, why you don't want to take these failed second attempts that look like they're forming, this structure here. So you see that a lot of guys, they'll look at this to the tick and they'll see one attempt higher, his price is just barely broke above there. And then they'll see this is two attempts higher. And then when they think they see this red bar here, print live in real time, they'll think, oh, I'll just drop my order right there. We're going to take out these stops and we're going to head down. And boom, you see they get whacked there. So now there's some guys they'll mark these trades. Let's say that would have dumped down, right? Well, they'll mark that. They'll mark that as a good trade on an aftermarket review. But when it fails like this, they'll just kind of ignore it and not even pay attention to it and go on with their chart review like it's not even there. So that's what I mean when you're looking at stuff in hindsight after the fact. It's very easy to pick anything out that wins. It's doing it in real time. That's takes the real skill. So anybody and their grandmother can do this stuff where they're marking trades and all this stuff after the fact. And you see these guys, these aftermarket reviews, and they go through and oh, you could have taken that one. You could have. Well, why didn't you? Why are you doing all these post-market reviews where you're showing all these trades you could have taken, but you yourself cannot trade profitably in real time? Well, because it's not so evident in real time. So anyway, get off my little soapbox there. Uh, we're just kind of petering around here at this gap level, so we'll see what the market wants to do. Let's try an extra hard. Well, now let's look at this. Now you have this leg up, you have this leg up, and even if you like this as a structure here, okay, even if you looked at that as its own trend independent of this one, well, now this is played out. And so maybe we get the real fade back into the range, but we have to be aware of why did prices bounce here before? So we want prices to confidently defeat that and just push down. Because sometimes, you just never know where prices are going to find support. And sometimes they'll bounce here and they'll form some sort of goofy range and then they'll dump down. So this looks a lot better for looking for a short. Now that we've got two legs up, all the price action to the upside is played out. So now I'd be looking for an opportunity to find a short trade to come back down into this overnight range. So we'll see if something sets up. I'm not going to keep the camera running here because we're already 5 minutes in. All right, everybody, just quick update here. We really got nothing as we pushed down, and it just kind of went sideways and pushed down again. And right now, I'm not looking for. I'm done looking for shorts at the moment because of how this is behaving. Maybe this will, you know, mess around here and then head back down, but you could conceivably say that this is played out here. Um, there's no good structure here, and now we're pushing back above the EMA. We'll see. But right now, I wouldn't be looking for any more shorts. Just the way this is looking strange. Now this may, just fail to push up and want to keep pushing down, but I don't have a good structure here to trade right now, so nothing for me to do. Okay, I just want to do an update here. So I didn't put my marker on the screen, so I'm not exactly sure where we were. I think about right here on the last one, and I said I didn't like because this structure, you're going very sideways here, right? But now we weren't able to push up from in the middle of this range, and we pushed down again. I will tell you that this lower high here looks pretty good. I wasn't here when this printed, so I had to step away from the computer. So I'm not going to say here I would definitely taken that, but I'm just saying from a price action perspective, that looks pretty good because this is we're still not able to push back up. In fact, we pushed up here and went down. We pushed up here and we tried to push up again. When you get this and then that can't push through the EMA very well and just collapses back down, you're probably coming down here at least. And then at that point, I'd have on this measured move now that we were not able to push up here. And so we get the sharp push down, we get into the measured move level. Now you're into the measured move level. And notice the difference here. You get how this is reacting sharply. Sharp push up, sharp push down. But now we're going sideways here. So this is when it gets dangerous to continue looking for shorts. Um, because it looks like prices are basing here. I'm not saying that they won't, you know, find some sort of resistance up here and then just keep pushing down further. But I'm not looking for shorts now because of what this is doing. This looks like, I'm not saying that this won't keep going down, but there's some sort of resistance there. So, you wouldn't want to short something like that into where prices have bounced twice now. We are pushing down, but you can see how much different the price action is in here than it was here, how sharp these moves are back and forth. And now it's very choppy. And now even here, you're getting a lot of overlapping choppy bars. So would just wait and see what happens here. Maybe this eventually grinds down and retests this low. Um, but then at that point, maybe there's something wider here. I drew some lines. It didn't fit very well. There's no clean structures. But, you definitely don't want to keep shorting, especially, into to create new lows this close to the bottom. I'm just waiting to see what happens now. So looks like we had a pretty decent setup right here on this lower high, um, with momentum down, with this measured move in play. Um, so we've hit the measured move now, and maybe you get something. Maybe this goes sideways here a little bit and then can't do anything and just falls out. But really, not looking for shorts at the moment. Very close to the bottom here. Um, we made two legs up, we made a couple legs down. It's not, you haven't made it all the way back down here to the lows, so you may continue to try to grind down here, but definitely not looking for shorts right now. Um, so that's it for now. All right, update time. So it looks like, we struggled a little bit here. Looks like we, pushed down through the EMA. We've tried to push up, or not through, push down through the overnight lows, and we tried to push back up into. We're just getting, constantly defeated here at the EMA. You can see there. So I have this structure drawn now. I'd be okay shorting here if we got two clear legs back up into this area, the EMA and the other side of this trend channel that looks pretty decent now. It looks like it's holding pretty well. So at this point, I'd be okay with um, looking for a short if it sets up okay. All right, real quick update, everybody. All right, I'm over here on the 4,000 tick chart because it's really difficult to find any clean structures on the 2K chart right now. So just kind of zooming out. We're very bearish right now. Prices can't barely correct at all before they just want to push down even lower. So I wanted to see, is there something bigger? Is there a bigger structure maybe that we could be just mindful of? And I found this. This looks lots of touches holding here, and then if we put our low down here, that fits pretty well so far. So, at the moment, we could also potentially see, this is something, but this is very steep, um, and it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit really well. So I can't really find anything that I'm really happy with from a structure standpoint that we can look at. So, you might be looking for prices to come up here and do something, but quite bearish today. We did not really regard the overnight low as anything so far, just kind of grinding lower. So this looks like we may be forming some sort of correction here. So we'll see how that turns out. All right, everybody, just all right, got our scalp there, holding this a little bit. This is the end of that move. Expecting this is at least going to pull back to the EMA here. Could be wrong, but this is the end of that move. We could be in for a big runner here. So let's just see what happens. This approaches the EMA. If we can get this to approach the EMA, I will pull my stop up. Let's see, maybe we'll get a lower high. Be kind of surprised the way this is printing if this just zoomed up through that. That's pretty, you got two legs up here. We'll see. Stranger things have happened. So we're still in profit, even if it comes up and hits our runner. So we'll see what happens. I'm hoping this is going to want to push down here, though. Get a lower high, maybe start pushing down. So we'll see. Sometimes this acts goofy and keeps going, but we'll see. I'll throw my target just like down in here. That would be a nice runner if we got it. Let's see. I didn't like this, but once this eclipsed this and went back up again and then closed really strongly, I thought, well, we'll at least get, this is at least going to move down here something. For some reason it wants to hold this. This could just be the buyers, just resisting temporarily. Let's see what happens. This downtrend, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the other screen. This downtrend is pretty huge. So this could be two legs. They're kind of thin, but could be two legs for us. Let's see what happens if we can start dumping down here through the EMA. If it doesn't hold, we could get a nice runner here. But I'm willing to hold this 4 points, which would be $200, and we already got what, I don't know, 4 something. So we're still in positive, even if this thing would pop up here. But I'm looking for this runner to come down. This would be a nice runner for this downtrend. Let's see, hoping we'll run out of steam here. So I'm gonna turn the mic off. We'll just watch it for now. All right, so I decided to move my runner up here just to protect it now. If this would some reason fail and push back up, then this is probably going to get taken out. So I just moved my runner up here just to uh this protect the stop. I'm hoping this just starts to collapse now here. It's a very strong bearish bar down. So we'll just try to maybe, here's the target. We'll just try to maybe manage it. If this keeps going down now, we'll try to manage it off major swings. Hopefully this doesn't pop back up here and take this out. So hopefully we start to just dump here. That would be my hope. With this new low here in place, we want to see this start to go down here, not bounce back up here. All right, so it's our runner there. Um, I ended up having it moved up to, so I ended up getting basically a full trade on that. That's too bad. I'm still expecting that this will come down, but you just never know what prices are going to do, so you just have to manage your runner appropriately. You don't want to leave this all the way up here and, the thing for some reason ends up popping up here and maybe it wants to retest the overnight low or something. And so I was hoping that we'd start to just come down here. And, it may have hit me by whatever, a tick or something, and this may just keep dumping down. But, um, you know, that's uh, that's just life in trading. So first I had my stop up here to see if we could get some follow through. Then when we got this nice pin barish lower high, tightened it up again. And then, once we got this, I didn't want to tighten it up here because maybe you're getting some kind of range or something. But once we came down here, then I moved it up so that I would get full, um, my, my full position that I would normally take on a trade. So anyway, it got kind of dragged out a little bit, but you know that's how it goes. So I'll pause it here. Maybe I'll think about it. I might just stop the video because this is already because we sat in like a 10-minute trade or whatever. This is already getting pretty long. Okay, everybody back. So we left off and when my trade had uh, I lost my runner here, and you can see sit through quite a bit of junk price action before it starts to push down. Um, where did I have? So I got in at 50, 55, I think. Or what? Hold on. I think it was yeah, 56 and a quarter. And I think I had my original target set for like 36. I think I was going for like 20 points, which, would have gotten out of that, but I'm not one to really sit through a bunch of this stuff. Sometimes, it's not going to play out like this. Sometimes this range will hold and maybe it'll push up higher. So I was looking for more of like a quick dump like this eventually does here. Now we may be getting, if I scroll out here, we may be getting, this is unlikely, but you can see how this could be for how big this downtrend is. This could be one attempt, two attempts on a bigger picture. This is a pretty decent trend up here. So if this is going to make a second attempt, now I'm not saying it will because this has made a pretty firm attempt to retest this. Usually it's going to be, you're not going to get this close to the low on a first attempt if it's going to make a second one. It'd be more like if it's going to make a bigger two legs, it might be more like, comes down here and pushes up. But you never know. But I would say if it's going to do that, first I would be looking for this trend to break and make a new high before it makes a second attempt. I would not just be trying to short anything, hoping to, like I kind of did here. I mean, you can see this is one leg, so this sharp leg broke and made a new high, and then I liked it after we got this, like our third close here, and we got this big bearish pin bar. Um, I liked it at that point, but this looks like this is definitely a nice trend up. Um, might be concerned a little bit about the overnight going taking along like into the overnight high here, but I'm sorry, the overnight low. But I think that if this trend breaks, you could be looking for maybe a long on two legs of correction because this definitely looks pretty solid for a trend and not like something that's about to like you know fade out and start dumping lower. But we are pushing. We'll see how this deals with the overnight low here. Um, it may not come into play too much because we didn't really respect it a whole lot on the way out. But I'd just be playing this structure as an uptrend, looking for two legs of correction before I would take a long. So that's where we're at right now. All right, quick update. So we did this second leg up. It's a nice trend, but we do end up, respecting that overnight low. So we kind of hit our head on it. Longs are off the table for me right now, whether this goes up to a new high or not. It still could, but I'm not interested in anymore. This second leg is way bigger than this first, so you might just be heading down again. We'll see. But that's where I'm at right now. I would not be looking to long here after um, we ran into the support from the overnight turns into resistance. All right, final update for this chart today. I'll get rid of that because it doesn't really matter. So when I left off, I was talking about how this looked like a strong uptrend. Um, and then I was saying, it'd be okay to look for two legs. I thought off this, but had some concern that there might be an issue with this overnight low. It does indeed respect it and then bounce lower, and so you might look at this as the downtrend, and here's break. Here's your first attempt. And I said I didn't think that this might not necessarily make a second attempt down off bigger two legs because this how far down this had tested, how close to the low. It does end up coming back down. So once it started doing this, couldn't push up back up through the EMA to like retest a high here. Then I was looking at something like this, and we just didn't really get anything. It kind of just petered out, broke here, made another leg down, and then I didn't really see anything I liked after that. It just kind of moved around. It pushed up, it pushed down, it pushed up and down. I didn't see anything here that was worth trying to take. So it didn't really give me any clear direction after this played out, and after this, made your second attempt down here to try to make a new low. Just kind of bounced around. So not a whole lot went on after this little push down here. The last 2 hours, not a whole lot of activity. So yeah, I didn't see anything else. So um, get rid of that. That's pretty much it for today. Um, I like this one. I missed this. I think I was away. And I thought it looked good though after we pushed down. We couldn't push up through the EMA and then we couldn't push up again. Created this big lower high. You get something like that. You're probably going to retest these lows again and then it just, continued down. So that's about it for the day. Got this one trade recorded. So, hope you enjoyed that. Hope you learned something from the review today, and I'll be back again tomorrow.